All right, we are here and we've got some fun fucking stuff to talk about. What you up to, bro?
Nothing.
Did you just fucking throw up?
Yeah. How can you tell?
Aren't you just a ray of sunshine this morning? But dude, um, have you, man? Okay, so you've seen a little bit of that legislation with the NDAA and everything about integrating a lot of technology capabilities with Israel and us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So, um, they keep trying to fucking like Trojan horse it past all of us because what they're doing is it started off as Section 224 of the NDAA. Then it changed from 224 to 219. And for the time being, up until yesterday, whenever I went through the NDAA and actually like looked at everything, it changed again. They keep changing the section. So like what it'll do is it'll confuse everyone who calls their senators to demand remove of Section 219 or 224 or whatever, right? Because those two, it's not it anymore. Now it's Section 1217. And they completely renamed it as well. It's not what it used to be, U.S., Israel, or whatever like that. Here, let me bring it up real quick because what it used to be was NDAA Section 219 U.S. Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. That's what it was when it was Section 219. Now, this is what they named it to. NDAA Section 1217 U.S. Israel Framework for Upgraded Technologies, Unified Research, and Enhanced Securities. Futures Act of 2026.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's all fucking smoke and mirrors. It's all fucking smoke and mirrors.
They keep changing it so that way whenever people start calling the senators saying, hey, we're demanding the complete strip and removal of Section 224 or 219 of the NDAA, that's not it anymore, right? And now it's Section 1217. They just keep fucking changing it. And what they did, what the House did, I think it was yesterday or the day before, they passed I think it was like a legislation kind of I forget what they call it. It's not necessarily a bill, but like something to add all of the language inside
like an
the save.
amendment?
I believe so, but the thing is to add all of the language that's in the Save Act that everybody wants passed, right, for secure elections and all this bullshit. They passed a resolution. That's what it's called.
Oh,
That's what I was looking for.
yeah.
To add all of the language from the Save Act to the NDAA. So now they're going to have all these fucking MAGA cult talking heads saying we have to pass the NDAA so we can get the Save Act, since Senator Thune and all these other fuckheads won't pass the Save Act. Now they're going to be calling to pass the NDAA. Now, I believe the next step is the Senate has to accept it. Like, I don't think that's the next step, but that's what they're trying to do to get more massive support for passing the NDAA with this fucking section that's going to integrate all of this shit between us and Israel, because they want to add all the language and everything from the Save Act to the NDAA so they get two birds with one stone and people will stop talking about the NDAA.
That's fucking wild, bro.
I don't know, but it's
I don't trust these fuckers. I don't. And it's funny because me and Tink, last night we were talking about it, and she started off talking about Hitler and shit like that, and talking about the Holocaust, and so I'm like, who makes your textbooks, right? And Tink looks at me and she goes, the Jews. And I'm like, I'm so fucking proud of you right now. You must be watching the show.
Yeah,
and then
Robert Maxwell. So
yeah. And then I said, baby, I said, don't think too far into what they're teaching you. I said, there's a lot of propaganda and all that. And she's like, what do you mean? So we ended up going down the rabbit hole last night. I said, you can't trust any fucking government. I said, you can't trust anyone.
it doesn't matter which government comes from. Like,
Yeah.
so and then again, this is not to say like, Hitler didn't have his shit about him, just like Stalin didn't have his shit about him, but we aligned with Stalin. He was an actual fucking communist. And
Yeah.
and he killed, per numbers, way more people died in Soviet Russia than in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
And but of course, this is just the big thing about it, right? Like, this is what they keep going. It's like, no, was Hitler a good guy? No, absolutely not. But and we don't sit there and say like the Holocaust would never happen. People call us Holocaust deniers just because we question Israel. It's like, no, nobody's questioning that shit happened in that time. What we're questioning is the extent and how much of it is actually like real, because that's where the real question. And there's nothing wrong with questioning that, but of course everything is wrong with questioning it nowadays, just because
Oh yeah.
you can't do anything. And
Oh yeah.
that's where it's just like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want at this point.
Yeah. No, it was just fucking hilarious last night, like having that conversation with her. And she's like, well, why do they teach us that? I was like, power control. God,
History is written by the winners. That's what it is.
or whoever writes a history book,
Yeah.
and like, I don't know, bro. It was just, and then we started talking about MK Ultra and all that shit because we were talking about
She
these
needs to
other
read
countries.
chaos.
Yeah, because all these other countries are fucked up. And then she kept bringing up Mein Kampf, and I was like, okay, I was like, baby, I was
Jesus
like,
Christ, dude.
I was like, you've been overly indoctrinated by the education system. I said, none of these motherfuckers are good. I was like, no one's inherently good, no one's inherently bad. It's all about power and control. And I was like, you can't trust any of these fucking governments. They're not, they don't have your best interest at heart. And yeah, fuck them, essentially.
Yeah, that's why two-party system is a sham. The entire government is bullshit, and nobody thinks for themselves anymore. So
Yeah, she didn't even know who Charles Manson was.
I'm gonna blame you for that one. Now we have a very special guest, guy up here in the Frisco area, who I would describe as a thorn in their fucking side, because it is just so hilarious seeing his stuff all over X and everything like that. But I am very excited. I've been following him for a while and watching his stuff and sharing it, and so I'm excited that he came on. He's coming on the show. Mark, what is up, brother? How are you doing?
Yo, thanks for having me. I didn't want to start my morning off being double penetrated, but here we are.
Nobody ever does, but sometimes you just need a good fucking kick in the ass. You know what I mean? Hey guys, today's show is sponsored by our friends over at Diamond Hill Grassroots Media LLC. If you're a small business owner, artist, musician, podcaster like us, or thinking about running for public office and you need help with visibility, my buddy Derek and his wife Ashley, along with their awesome team, can help you get on the local news, radio station, and podcast shows just like this one. Doesn't matter what label you use, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, libertarian, or independent, they just want to hear from you. So long as your morals and values align with theirs in the Constitution, they'll have your back. Just head over to diamondhillgrassroots.com and let them know the DP show sent you. Diamondhillgrassroots.com. That's diamondhillgrassroots.com. Let's get back to the show.
No, actually, I'm excited to kind of have a conversation with two people who aren't brainwashed by government propaganda. So it was nice hearing the intro of questioning the system, what's going on. And I have a lot to talk about. I mean, actually, with the German government, I can kind of share my conspiracy there, how they're involved. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on. It means a lot to me. I've seemed to be blackballed from a lot of conversations of other podcasters. So I think you guys are showing you're true, that you're an honest person. You're not bought and paid for by some government propaganda like most of these guys out here hosting podcasts.
Look, my opinion is, everyone's got an opinion, and like just like everyone's got assholes and they all stink. Like, look, if we get censored and blacklisted so much because of the shit we say, whether it's people being afraid or people fucking having people's hands in other people's pockets or whatnot, we don't give a fuck. It's that situation that everyone needs to have a voice. And who gives a fuck what you say? Who gives a fuck what I say? Who gives a fuck what anyone says? It's that situation of just fucking say it. And if someone wants to follow it, likes it, like you might open someone's eyes on something. Someone might lean a little bit to what you say. Someone may hate everything you say, but there's common ground between every time you open your mouth between someone else. You know what I mean?
Oh, and I think people like forget, like, we don't have to agree on everything. Like, so
Oh
many
yeah.
people feel like it's like like, if I say one thing about, a certain group or topic, and all of a sudden, oh no, everything you say is wrong or whatever. It's like, dude. And also, I think we're three Texas boys here, right? So, like, that's the other thing, this Texas mindset of like, don't fuck with us, and we're going to be cool, and I'm going to be a nice guy. Don't fuck with me. And you can say what you want to say, and I can say what I want to say.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I don't know when we lost that. It just came to a point. It's like, I mean, obviously for a while, there's always been like, oh well, I'm a Democrat, so I have to vote Democrat. Oh, I'm a Republican, so I have to vote Republican. But for the most part, I want to say, even going through like the Clinton and Bush era, we had a lot of people that disagreed, but we could still be cool and talk to them. You know what I mean? And I think it started with the Obama era, continued on obviously through Trump, Biden, and still continuing out through Trump again. It's gotten so fucking tribalistic to the point where, no, if you question your leader, if you identify as Republican and you vote Republican and conservative, whatever like that, if you question Donald Trump, then you're a leftist, you're a Democrat, you're a fucking all this other shit, right? It's like, no, why can't I have my own opinion on a subject? Like, when did we lose that ability? It's infuriating, it's sickening, and then it further pushes the notion of everything is fake and gay, they're all corrupt, they're all in on together. That's what it pushes.
Well, I think,
Like,
I didn't know.
you,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Dusty.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't know anything about politics my entire life until 2020. Like, and that's where I feel like they've just been implementing their psychological operation that is, really transitioning to the World Economic Forum's Great Reset, which is you can't stop evolution, right? We're changing from the third industrial revolution to the fourth industrial revolution. And if you go read up on the fourth industrial revolution by the World Economic Forum, it's everything that's happening right now. AI taking over jobs, your currencies being devalued. That's why all the Western civilization countries are being destroyed with immigration. Like, it's not a coincidence that Indians are in Frisco, Texas, Canada. Just go look at Tyler Oliveira he can just keep going to country, exposing how all
I've been
these
watching
foreigners are
every
taking
single
over.
I've been watching every single one, like everywhere he goes, like where it's Portugal, fucking
Yeah.
France, Spain, all of them. It's either mass immigration from one of two places, India or some other Muslim countries. Like it's
Yep.
one of the two. They're all mass immigration from one of those two places. And it seems like there's honestly, just in my opinion, when you look at everything, there's way more mass immigration from India than anywhere. Because you see them all over the place, everywhere you go. Now, there's obviously, because like it gets a little foggy when you get to like Muslim, right? Because everybody wants to assume
Yeah.
Middle Eastern. Well, there's a lot of Muslim countries in Africa as well and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so it kind of gets a little muddy when you focus on that. But India, that's all one place. We all know where they're fucking coming from. Like, you know what I mean?
And there's a
So,
billion of them. That's the whole thing. There's a lot of them.
well, I think the census was there's a billion of them there in that country still.
Oh yeah. So
but then you have to think about how many have left and gone and then just massively reproduced everywhere else. That's what's nuts. You know what I mean?
Great point.
Because they're the type of families, just like Muslim type families, where they have a lot of kids. Like, you know, even traditional Hispanic families, they have a lot of kids. You know, so I'm gonna call it like it is. They're like bunny rabbits. It's just blah 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 blah. But it's like, you know, just start reproducing like fucking nuts out of wherever they land. You know what I mean? So it's like, take into account, they have a billion said to be just in the actual country of India. Then how many are not in India and everywhere else at this point? You know what I mean? That's what's insane.
And they're destroying Western civilization from within. It is not a coincidence that all these Western countries are experiencing this at the same time. It's a playbook. That's what, I was actually getting excited back in like 2024 when people were really talking about the World Economic Forum, right? It was trending online. People were talking about the Great Reset, and then it just kind of all disappeared. And, everything really seems to be about Israel now, which I'm not going to doubt that they have their hands in all this stuff, right? But the way I look at it too is like, they have their hands in all of it, but like they're letting it trend online. They're letting us talk about it. Like, what aren't they allowing us to talk about? I feel like you always got to have a front man, right? And like, obviously Israel's doing what they're doing, but what's behind the scenes that we're not able to talk about? And that's where I think a lot of my stuff comes in.
Yeah.
Because, T-Mobile USA is owned by Deutsche Telekom. Deutsche Telekom is 30% owned by the German government. It used to be 100% owned by the German government, but Deutsche Telekom wanted to get into the American telecommunications business back in 2000. And so the US government told them they needed to like diversify. Like, we weren't going to let a German government enter telecommunications, right? So they sold off 70% of it to kind of, fulfill that request from America. And then they wanted to buy VoiceStream Wireless. And some US senators were like, no, we're not going to allow you to buy VoiceStream Wireless because you're a foreign government running telecommunications. And then they said, hey, well, we're going to hold up your European trade. We're going to stop your trading between Europe if you don't allow this purchase to go through. So that's how Deutsche Telekom, the German government, infiltrated America's telecommunications company and has T-Mobile. So that's it. This is why I get canceled a lot online.
That is particularly funny to me. We're not going to let a foreign government come in and be involved in our telecommunications, but we're going to let a foreign government have an unregistered lobby, have a massive influence on all of our politicians. Like, where do we get on the hypocrisy on that one at this point?
Yep. It's like, Dusty, you said it all. It's all smoke and mirrors, man. It's all bullshit. It's like, they have to show us some stuff online, and then to where the masses are like, yeah, we're really making change. And then it's like, behind the scenes, there's just something else completely going on. But the one thing that I talk about T-Mobile is they created the vaccine passports for the World Health Organization and the European Union. They tried to force me to use a vaccine.
T-Mobile created that?
Well, so I say T-Mobile, but really what it was is, so like I said, Deutsche Telekom owns T-Mobile USA, right? Deutsche Telekom has a lot of subsidiary companies in Germany. One of them is called T-Systems. T-Systems created the vaccine passport that the World Health Organization used. They also created the digital ID that the European Union piloted. So they have blockchains, social credit scores, central bank digital currencies. So Deutsche Telekom, T-Mobile, has all this technology that they've created to really fit into that fourth industrial revolution.
Holy shit.
So that's it's like on my X account, I call it my masterpiece, because I launched my journalism back in October 2023. And the pinned tweet that I have is what I call my masterpiece, where I expose how T-Mobile was behind creating all of that technology. And that's what has kind of been crazy. When I realized all this, I was working at T-Mobile at the time. So, reminder, I worked at T-Mobile for 17 years. I was leading the COVID response
Damn,
from
that's
2020 to 17 years of my life, dude. I worked my way up. I started as a part-time sales associate during the holidays, dude. And then I worked into a
just
store
in the store, and then you went up
in the
and you
store.
went.
I worked my way up, man, over 17 years. I went to store manager, training store manager. Then I was a regional manager. Then I got into operations. Then I became a senior manager in operations and headquarters. I led our go to market promotions team. But then, in 2020, when COVID was happening, I was on our business continuity disaster recovery team. And so me and my team were in charge of keeping all the stores open and people safe during COVID. So you remember we had mask mandates in some states and not in others, vaccine mandates, social distancing. My team led all that shit. And that's when I got involved into kind of paying attention to politics and what was going on. I knew I didn't need the vaccine. And then, a couple of years later, I'm going down this rabbit hole. And that's when I discovered T-Mobile has all this technology for the World Economic Forums. And I was like, after that, it was hard to work at T-Mobile. So I raised my hand to be laid off. They were doing layoffs and they didn't really accept requests, right? But I knew higher ups, like the guy that's the second guy in charge at T-Mobile right now, I was close with him and his right-hand lady. And so I requested to be laid off from my job so I could go launch my journalism, use my whistleblower stuff to really kick off my journalism. And, they offered me a severance of $150,000, but that included an NDA. So after 17 years, I was, making $200,000 at T-Mobile. My life was good, dude. It was the American dream.
Nice and comfy, huh?
Nice and comfy. And then I wanted to bet on myself, I had seen kind of everything 2020 and 2023, all these conservative news outlets really inspired me to speak up and go, hey, I'm going to whistleblow T-Mobile. I'm going to expose what I just told you about the World Economic Forum stuff. I've exposed their diversity, equity, and inclusion. I've exposed how T-Mobile provides unlimited money for transgender surgeries while they limit money for other benefits, right? All their woke agenda, trolling the CEOs, exposing how they're dumping stocks and creating dividends and doing all this stuff. And so, they offered me, when I requested to be laid off, they offered me $150,000 severance after 17 years. I had to turn it down because it included a non-disclosure agreement, which means
I
I
was going
wouldn't
to
have been able.
ask you that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was betting like, hey, man, if I take this money, then I can't say anything about T-Mobile. But my whole thing was like, I want to talk about T-Mobile to kick off my investigative journalism, my journalism career, podcasting, all that stuff. Right. And so, dude, it was hard to turn down that money. I'm not rich, man. I'm like, I know I was making $200,000 a year, but I was, that doesn't mean I only did that for, 5 years. I'm not a rich guy. I'm just, I needed that money, but I was betting on kind of being able to make money with my journalism, which, 3 years later, now I realize I underestimated how important my story was because so when I did my masterpiece on October 2023, exposing all that World Economic Forum stuff, 3 days later, X suspended me and they locked my account and kicked me out of my account.
Was that before Elon took over?
No, it was after Elon. So I bet everything on Elon's promises. I drive Teslas. I was the Elon fanboy. I bet everything on his promise of having a free speech platform for citizen journalism, right? And then, they suspended me. The way I got it back is I was reaching out to all these, people, but then I emailed Tesla and X leadership and asked them how to safely burn my Teslas in my cul-de-sac. I was like, hey, I'm gonna have a party for New Year's. I want to burn my cars and to celebrate, and then all of a sudden my account turned back on. And so I was like, hell yeah. But now I realize what I think the reason why I think
they were watching you. Mm-hmm.
They purposely gave me my account back. Not only were they watching me, I believe they tested their new censorship tools on me, which I documented on my website. It's like, because I watched myself be shadow banned in real time, right? In 2024, January and February, and I had like 7 million impressions between those 2 months. I exposed the Dallas mayor, his affair with his like chief of staff. I was exposing all sorts of stuff. And then all of a sudden, boom, I got locked down. And, I document all this. And X is, Elon didn't buy X to save free speech. He bought free speech so he could control it. And also now I think that's how we've created digital IDs, right? In America, we already have digital IDs. The government hasn't told us we have them, but let's be real. Say something on your phone.
It's our cell phones,
all the advertising, and even the Alexa's at home. And like you say something, all of a sudden you're like, your wife gets an advertisement for something you're talking about and vice versa,
Hang on real quick. Tell me if this has ever happened to either one of y'all. We all know that everything is secretly listening to us. And at a certain point, you just kind of accept it because it's like, what the fuck are you going to do at this point, right? And then, like you said, you talk about something and you're scrolling on your timeline, and all of a sudden you see, what the fuck? Well, I just talked about this. But have you ever known for a fact that you didn't say something? You may have just thought it, and then it comes up in your fucking timeline anyways?
Bro, that shit happens all the fucking time.
What the
All the
fuck?
fucking time.
Because they're
Fucking
predicting.
T-Mobile.
Fucking T-Mobile. Hey, have you guys ever watched Social Dilemma on Netflix? It's from 2020. If you haven't,
No,
go
I
check it out.
hear about it all the time. I've never taken the time to watch it, but yeah, I
Dude,
hear, yeah.
it shows how they've been, you might have thought about something 2 years ago and they remember. So then they bring that advertisement up 2 years later for you. They know us better than we know us. I remember I was asking, so as I was being censored too, I kept asking Elon's AI about me. Elon's AI can explain me better than I can explain me. It can tell you what I've been through the past 2 years. It can summarize all my stories. It's pretty scary that it knows me better than I know me, really, at this point.
Yeah, and it's like AI is like it's one of those things of like where we know how dangerous it is, and then we also accept that a lot of us have become quite reliant on it in a lot of things. And it's like,
Yeah.
it sucks to be in that like rock and a hard place
Yeah.
situation, right? Because on not this past episode, but the one the one before it, me and him, because I started diving into section 24220 of the 2021 infrastructure bill with the kill switch that's getting passed into our vehicles, right? So I started digging into it, and people are going to sit there and say like, oh, all you do is just go look for this. I'm like, no, I don't go look for it. I investigate and I end up finding shit. And I sometimes I wish I don't fucking find it at this point. You know what I mean? But I started looking into the Ryzen data centers and the kill switch and a few other things that people call, well, it's just a coincidence. It was like, one time is by chance, two times is coincidence, three times is a pattern, and I don't believe in patterns. Everything is at that point comes to what's really going on here, right? Well, all of this technology that is being developed for specifically the kill switch is coming from, you guessed it, Israel. And I found all of the specific technology that is going towards the kill switch being developed by what appears to be GM, General Motors, being at the center of everything, because they have a R&D center in Tel Aviv where they're developing this specific technology. And then it's like, well, if you need to have with the rise in flock cameras everywhere, and then on top of you need to have the ability to connect to anybody's vehicle at any given point and shut it down, what do you need? You need a lot of data. Well, all these data centers are popping up and everything, right? And then I go to like Tala Oliveira. Love him, great investigative journalist. Another person that I really enjoy his content is Tommy G. Like,
oh yeah,
his stuff, fucking love it. And he did a data center one, and he had a whistleblower from the inside talking about there's hidden Israeli technology that they're using to spy on us, right? Which at this point, it's like, how do we not know this at this point? But it just keeps coming back. And then on top of that, you have a rise across the country, because I put a timeline of when the farthest one I could find of junkyard and scrapyard fires where they have older vehicles that you get a lot of replacement parts for these classics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's been happening all across the country.
Yeah. Like the egg farms too.
Yeah.
All the stuff that's just randomly catching fire now.
So all these fires in these junkyards and scrapyards where they have older vehicles where they strip them and they resell store, they're all just burning down everywhere.
Crazy.
In the midst of all this, it's like, are they preparing for this stuff so we can't repair old cars? And you have smaller governments in states all across the country that are putting in laws to ban or limit how much and how often we can drive our own personally owned classic cars, because they won't have control of them. It's like, what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing here at this point?
That is the fourth industrial revolution. That's exactly, you just described it. That's what it all, as an umbrella, all that stuff fits under there. And, what I think is interesting too, that a lot of people don't talk about is really GM. And I didn't know that about GM having the stuff over in Israel. That's pretty crazy. But,
yeah, if you
they've
get a chance,
able to disable.
Go check out our episode 29, I think. 30, episode 30. Dude, I found a rabbit hole that I feel like will never end. It was just
Yeah,
nuts.
they never end. So what's crazy too is GM, they've been able to disable cars since the early 2000s with OnStar, right? And
Yeah.
then that's why a lot of these cars now are going to drive by wire and drive by gas and brake, is because then they can control that remotely too. And like I love my Tesla, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm a nerd. That goes to your point, like with AI, right? Like, I don't rely on it to do all my stuff, but I use it as a tool. You like you found all that
It
information
makes
by using it
researching
as a tool.
so much
Yes,
easier. And like
totally.
you can't deny that AI
You
has
know,
streamlined researching by miles. It's
you know
just
what's crazy to think about though? We've only had AI since November 2022. That's when
officially, yeah,
Chat
for
Open AI,
everything,
yeah,
yeah.
for us, right? Like for the masses, like that's when Chat GPT came out. And I remember back then, the whole story was like, it's not going to take jobs, it's not going to replace jobs. Now the news is like, hey, we're laying people off and we're replacing it with AI, and everybody just accepts it. Like it's the stepping stone of how they get us to just accept, the tyranny that's going on these days with like
It,
H-1B visas and these damn Indians, right? Like,
Yeah, and it was also funny because like they used to always tell us when we were growing up, like probably for our generation, it's like get into tech, go learn about software and go learn about
yeah,
computers and stuff like that because that's where the safe jobs are going to be. They stopped pushing trades and stuff like that with manual work that is still relatively safe until Elon sends out tens of millions of fucking robots to do everything for us. Um, that's still relatively safe, and then they start going on about shout out Dustin. I'll get to you in a minute. They started saying go into computers. They needed tons and tons of stuff like that. Well, we did. A lot of people did that, and now they're all losing their jobs because they created AI. So, what do you want,
Pick
Dustin?
me, pick me. I just got a text message. I'm not going to say who it's from, but hey, call our senators and ask them to protect the elections and pass the SAVE Act. Um, our children it- and our votes matter, and so does our future. And it is Ted Cruz's and John Cornyn's contact info.
Oh, fuck both of them. God damn, dude.
dude, I've called senators. I've learned that's just smoke and mirror. I don't know if you guys saw, like, I even recorded calling Chip Roy and Keith Self. Like, I guess those are Congress people, but whatever. Like, these people don't care, man.
No,
I wish we could take away their social media accounts too. Like, they make people think they care. Like, they have millions of followers and they make people think they care. But then when you like call them and talk about the stuff that you just tell, they don't care, man. They're going to pass it regardless of what you say.
no, it's just so. I mean, especially when it comes to clearly pe- uh, people like Ted Cruz who don't give a shit about Texas or America at this point, because all
Right.
he ever talks about is one small country in a whole totally different land. It's like, okay, well, go move there, dude. Nobody wants you here at this point. Um, but what pisses me off is that we elect them to serve us, to serve our interests, to serve what we put them there to do. And then every single one of them, when they get there, they do whatever the fuck they want to do. And it's just like, screw you. That's not why we put you there. We put you to serve the people who put you in that position. And that, again, that's why I always come back to it's like, now we know everything once people like, with that type of notoriety and with no moral compass get into those positions, whether it be Congress, like even just in state, like whatever like that, get into Congress and senators and then actual White House positions and stuff like that. When they align with Democrat party lines or Republican party lines hard, like there's just no give. They have to stay in line. That's when you know that everything that they promised you is bullshit. They said what they had to do to get your vote to put them up there so they can serve one thing, the party, not the people, the party. And what the party decides is what will happen. So that's let you know that this party system is bullshit.
My text response was both of them suck. Hold on. I got to carry on to that. You should start supporting Jen Mack.
Yeah.
She's the
So
lady running for governor. Is that?
yeah, she's an actual independent. She's not party aligned, and she's did whatever she had to do to get on the ballot to as a write-in candidate for November.
Right.
And we've been working with her and teaming up with her and everything like that. She's fucking phenomenal. And she used to be like, kind of like all three of us. Like we just we were Republican. We voted Republican because we aligned with those values. But then we all started to see that this is all fake. This like there's a true uniparty, and they're not serving the people. And so she is like a true actual independent. She goes and speaks at some of these like conservative clubs or whatever like that to say, hey, look, I'm not running as a Republican. I'm not running as a Democrat or a libertarian or like, one of these official party names. Like, I'm running as me for you, Texans, the people. And she is getting shit on by both sides because they're afraid of her. And she even went to the Republican convention, the GOP convention down in Houston. Was it last month, right? And people couldn't stand her because she's sitting there just speaking, and they're like, "No, we have to get behind Abbott." I'm like, "Who the fuck wants to get behind Abbott?" I mean, like,
The boomers.
exactly. And way I described it is like Abbott is kind of running when you look at it. Like, now when he speaks, he could talk. He's pretty clear. He can talk and everything. Like, he's a very politician talker, right? But he's running like a Joe Biden-esque campaign. You don't
Yeah.
see him until the cameras are out and they need him on camera. He's not doing debates. He's not really talking to anybody, right? Like, before the primaries, me and Dusty, we were in a lot of support and helping and doing whatever can for Doc Chambers. Because even though he was running as a Republican, he aligned more, because he was like, oh, like, I have to get on the ballot, so this is like the easiest way to go, right? But he's more aligned with actual, like, just, I want to be with the Constitution. I'm running as me, but I'm on the Republican ticket. Well, again, he knows that Greg Abbott. He used to work for Greg Abbott when he was in the Texas National Guard as a Green Beret. Like, so he actually knows Greg Abbott, and Greg Abbott refused to debate him because he's afraid of him. And now,
Yeah, they don't
since
want to
he
give him the
didn't
platform because it'll help him.
exactly, and
Yeah.
so now
Yeah.
that unfortunately he lost the primary, he's going to fall under the sore loser law. So he couldn't even run as an independent or a write-in now because he's already ran in the primary. But then we found Jen Mack. We've met her, talked to her. Like, she's phenomenal. And again, like, she's not running as a party aligned member, which that's how you get any support, is only when you get a party. And she's an actual independent, and she's going to be one of the very few independents like that's ever in any state has ended up getting on the ballot for governor. So this is we're just trying to put whatever support we can behind her, because it's like, look, we're tired of this two-party shit. Because no matter what you do, and what pisses me off is all you ever hear from both sides is like, well, we have to stop the Democrats from getting in. I don't care what you're doing to stop them. I care what you're doing to help Texans, which will get you and trust you to keep voting for you. That's what you should do. Instead, all you're telling us is like, well, we have to stop the Democrats from getting in. We have to stop the Republicans from doing this. We have to stop them, this. Like, okay, cool. But when you guys get up there, you guys all say yes to the same thing. So who's really stopping who at this point? It's just bullshit.
So we just had a conversation the other night about it, where I've got a lot of family members which you probably don't know how I am, and I'm extremely liberal. I may not look like it. I'm a fiscal conservative, but I'm a social libertarian. I have the outlook of, I don't give a fuck who you're fucking. I don't care what drugs you put in your body. Like, it's none of my fucking business, just like it's none of the government's. Like, if you're not hurting your neighbor, you're not hurting someone else, do you, be you. Our government's too fucking big, and they need to stay the fuck out of our lives. That's my outlook. And then whenever I talk about politicians and shit, I'm very open. I look at who's best for Texas or who's best for the country, not who wears a R on their chest or a D on their chest, who's wearing blue or red. I don't give a fuck. My opinion is who is a better candidate? Who has more common sense, who believes in our constitution, and who wants to stay the fuck out of my life. And me and Rusty were talking about it because I've got a lot of family members that are like, well, you know, we're all Republicans and you were raised Republican. You're going to fuck up the country by swaying these people. You should be a Republican. You should get in line with Greg Abbott.
Always, you're just splitting the vote. You're just splitting the vote. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to make it my own choice.
And especially whenever it comes to Trump, because I've got some MAGA motherfucking bandwagon people in the family. And I'm like, fuck Trump. Like, I don't like the motherfucker. I think he's done a couple good things for the country. Other than that, he's a fucking douchebag. Well, I guess you can be a douchebag and do good for your country too. But
I think him and his douchiness, like by being like talking how he talks, I think that's why he got elected, both times. People like don't want the politician type talk, which I don't mind. I don't care. Say what you want to say. Like we're built on the First Amendment, talk how you want to talk. Like, so, but what, like I said, before we started, Mark, me and him both have till this day have said he has done phenomenal at shutting down the border. Borders closed. We got that under control. Now what he's fallen short on, in a long list of things, is we're getting no mass deportations. Doge was supposed to be for like all the way up until the midterms, like this month, like it was supposed until July 4th. That was the original fucking hard deadline to shut it down. It didn't even last a year. It started in January of 25 and they shut down quietly. It wasn't advertised in November of 25. They didn't even last a fucking year. And then we got none of the Doge cuts. That was a lot of people who wanted that, including me. Like, I want the fucking federal government down to this much. That's what I want, and all that, nothing. Then we get all of this quote unquote fraud, waste, and abuse coming out. Nothing is happening. We get all of these, we get about half of the Epstein files released, but then nobody gets arrested. We have all of this shit with Fauci saying Fauci this, Fauci that, COVID this, COVID that. Nobody's getting held accountable. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, it's just bullshit.
Well, and that's where, dude, oh, go ahead.
Speaking of douchiness, this is sidebar spiderweb type of bullshit. Speaking of douchiness, you know how you see motherfuckers that like always pull out the Zens and all that, pop them in their mouth, and they just look douchey as fuck.
Yeah, what about it?
Okay, so our boy had sent over some of the Patriot pouches. I just tried my first ones. This is the best fucking. These are the best fucking. I was on the fence. I was like, I'm not gonna like them. I'm gonna try them. I'm not gonna like them. These are the best fucking pouches I've ever tried. These are like extremely sweet and like it's like a fucking candy. It's like having a candy in your mouth. These fucking things are amazing.
Yeah, like because he did specify when he was developing them, like it's not typical. It's not your typical type stuff like with Zen and how they make it, because it's like a nicotine analog. Whatever that means, I don't know. He could describe it better, but like it's not the same.
It says nicotine free and caffeine free. Now I will say this about them.
So it's like a fake nicotine, like a synthetic nicotine.
Yeah, I guess it's not like the typical nicotine you would get in like actual dip or cigarettes. He described it when we had him on the show like a few months ago as a nicotine analog. It registers in your brain and everything. You get the same feeling, you get the same kick as you would if you were smoking a cigarette or doing dip and get actual tobacco. So it's not traditional like nicotine. It's he described it as a nicotine analog that does the same receptors and everything like that to make sure you get that same feeling. And it helps.
I wonder if that means it's less addicted to. So I've been off
Yeah.
nicotine for years. I can't touch, man. I'm like, I have a very addictive personality. I e-cig and all that stuff. I'm like staying away from those pouches as much as possible. Just like, I don't have anything against it. I just like, oh man, I would live on that shit. Wake up, hit my vape before I even thought about anything else,
No, yeah, I know the feeling, but
That's interesting. I didn't
yeah.
know that there was that though. That's like, it's not really nicotine. It messes with the same receptors. I wonder if it's less addictive, maybe better for you, which nicotine's not
Well,
really bad for you, but
well,
It
yeah,
has no. It says it has no nicotine in it at all.
yeah, that's
But
what's interesting.
I will say one thing about it is you have to use retard strength to open them because I couldn't figure out how to fucking open the goddamn cans. So I just ended up having to just pull it apart.
Childproof.
yeah.
I'm
So
way
because
childproof.
I think what it's meant, like you said, Mark, like trying to help people who feel like they're over dipping or smoking too much, trying to help
Yeah.
them lean off, like, so whereas other ones will do actual nicotine, like a nicotine patch, so you're not getting the smoke and everything, tar from a cigarette or whatever like that. Like I said, this is how you described it, was a nicotine analog to do the same receptors to help you get off of all of these products that have nicotine. Was, like you said, nicotine in itself is not inherently bad. Where you find nicotine is where it's inherently bad. Smoking,
Yeah.
all this other stuff, right? So that's where he developed this, and it's 100% America made and everything. It's nothing from overseas. Yeah, our boy Alexander Duncan, he's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, I didn't know there was
Yeah,
such a thing. That's good to know.
Yeah,
they're good.
patriotpouch.com.
Yeah, they are fucking phenomenal. I am really surprised. So I just did the wintergreen, and now I just put the orange ones in my mouth. They are really fucking good, bro. Like, and look, so Mark, and everyone, like, I'm Copenhagen through and through.
I
Like,
thought I saw you start with dipping at the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
Yeah.
fucking, it's 9 a.m., 10
He's
a.m., and
wanting
I'm
to kind
already
of do a live taste test thing. Yeah.
yeah, I'm already whiskey and fucking
Nice.
Copenhagen. So, um, but yeah, I was so much on the fucking fence on these because, and everyone looks like a douchebag when they've got the Zen Zen. Like, and I've done them like whenever I have to in certain, settings, I'd throw one in. And finally I got to the point where I was like, man, I look like, actually, there's a story that was told on one of the episodes where I was at a dock event and a congressman comes over to me and he's talking to me about me dipping Copenhagen. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I dipped for years and years and years. And he's like, but then I got off of them and I got on, and he pulls out a can of Zen and he's like, then I got on these. I was like, yeah, but those are gay.
Out loud in
But
front of everybody, like important people and stuff at this event. And
yeah,
everybody just kind of looked
yeah.
over.
Like,
Because
okay,
they're
this
older.
motherfucker that,
People our
yeah,
age would laugh, right? But the boomers are like, they didn't grow up watching South Park like we did.
yeah. But no, so that's why, whenever we talk to Alex and he was talking about these, I was like, I'm not gonna like them. I'll be honest with you. I thought truthfully I was not gonna like these, and I'm only on my second flavor right now trying them out. This motherfucker did something here. Like,
he
y'all
put
need
a
to
little bit.
get
He put a
something.
little bit crack with a hint of meth in it. That's what he did.
Yeah, like fucking who do you get to make this shit? Paula Dean? Like, motherfucker, they taste like a fucking masterpiece.
Well, it is. I
Like
know, like,
like Billy Bob says, 10, a fucking 10.
yeah, no, like that. It is the convenience part of it, though, right? Like, I know, like, even when I went from smoking cigarettes to vapes, everybody called me gay too, and then that, because I was doing that before it like got all cool, and then now it's like cool thing to do. It's just like, you're riding the old school, dip, and then everybody with the new stuff's gay, but now
When did
you're
you
turning a
start
little gay.
vaping? When did you
Dude,
start vaping?
oh man, I don't like 2010 or something. Like,
Okay, I started in 08 or 09.
yeah,
Around the
with the
time
little ego tees, with the little tip. I mean, yeah,
oh no,
Sorry, go
Okay,
ahead.
so I started about that time. Actually, before those. So before those, they made these little. They looked like a cigarette,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they were expensive. It was
yep,
fucking expensive, but it looked like a cigarette. The front would light up, all that,
yep, yep,
and then the other, like the mechanical mods and
yeah,
shit started coming out. So Grim Green, he was doing his shit, and I think soon after that was like that Twisted 420X or whatever, here in Texas, and they were doing these mechanical mods. Well, then I started getting into the big RDAs and shit like that,
yeah, me
where
too.
I was building my own coils and all
Yeah,
that, doing a lot of mechanicals. I actually almost bought a fucking vape shop at one time.
I did.
In
I
another,
started a vape company,
yeah, yeah,
Vape
yeah. Well,
365.
yeah, and then so I did some different shit, and yeah, like I was like every cloud competition where I was like that I could get to, like, cause I travel a lot, and I'd be in a new town or whatever, and fucking I'd see something on old school Facebook about a cloud comp or something. And I'm like, I'm gonna go see what these motherfuckers are doing. And my dumb ass, I say I'm the frugalest motherfucker you would know. I spend money like a fucking asshole.
Oh yeah, because you had
So
to get the new mod, you had to get the new cartridge,
We
you had to get all the new shit.
finally got a
bro,
fucking confession out of this asshole that he's not frugal.
bro, I've got like a fucking $1,800 purge mod. It's a fucking single battery, fucking 26650, like purge mod. And because they're all like hand machined, it looks like a big ass
Yeah,
suppressor. And fucking, you walk into this motherfucker, you look like a fucking like a old school fucking Coltrane walking in that bitch puffing on it. And it's like, motherfucker.
yeah, it helped me. I started off with then I started making my own liquid because I didn't want the liquid from China and all that stuff. And like, I felt like I think it was healthier, right? Like, make some my own stuff, better than cigarettes. It wasn't healthy, but it was better choice. And then I worked my way down to like zero nicotine, and then I just freaking kicked it. I almost picked up the pouches when I was in jail last year for 4 months because T-Mobile and Collin County prosecuted me for my free speech. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
story. But Dusty, I
Oh,
want to
so
go back to
one of those
I want
things
to go.
for at the city hall.
No, it's I'll tell you here in a second. I want to go
Okay.
back, Dusty. I'm right there with you. Dude. I don't care what people do. Like, I talk about T-Mobile and the transgender agenda. I don't really care if an adult wants to go trans. Do whatever you want to do, as long as you're not involving kids, right? That's where I
Yeah.
kind of like draw the line, right? But I'm not.
Kids, and don't push it in my face to make me accept shit that I don't want to.
I don't agree with the corporation shoving it down our throats. Like, that's shoving it down our throats is the wrong thing to say, but the corporate agenda.
No, it's quite literally the only thing to say when it comes to this. Okay.
I experienced it at T-Mobile. I was there. During 2020 and 2023, they hosted all these webcasts. I put one of them on my YouTube, where it's an all-employee webcast where an employee is sharing their actual transition experience, and it was on Transgender Day of Visibility, and they show the top surgery and everything. So I actually recorded some of these
They did
employee
that on
webcasts.
Easter, right? Wasn't that what it was?
No, I don't.
Because
It was.
that
I
was
don't
when
know if it
Biden was in
always
office,
lands.
right? No, but that
Yeah,
was
I
when
don't- th-
the very
Yes.
first one. That was the very first one.
Yeah, so then I guess it was.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
so like, because Easter is fluid based on, I guess that's a good word too, based on like how it falls, because it's always a certain, like Thanksgiving, a certain day of the month.
Yeah.
It's not like Father's Day, June 19th, or Mother's Day, whatever like that,
Right.
right?
Right.
But the very first one, when Biden was a Transgender Day of Visibility, they purposely made it on fucking Easter, which was like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me? Like, really? That's what you want to do? Yeah.
Yep.
But
I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
no. So I mean, that's I don't fit into a box more. And going back to kind of like the political stuff, I can't even get involved in the candidates anymore. I can't listen to this stuff anymore. I don't, and I'm not going to tell people not to go vote, right? Like, I don't tell someone how to think or what to do, but I'm personally done. Like, that's why I use my free speech to speak up. Like, I tell people, if everybody was doing what I was doing and speaking up at the city councils, we would actually start a revolution, right? If everyone showed up and started doing this stuff, it would apply so much pressure on all these elected officials. I wish I could go speak to Greg Abbott like I do Frisco City Council, right? Let me get up there and say some stuff to him, or to President Trump, right? To like any of these senators and congressmen. Like, I wish there was an avenue where I could go, speak up like I do. And that's where, the whole reason I started speaking at Frisco was because, I was being censored and shadow banned online. And the T-Mobile office I worked out of is in Frisco. And, I worked out of that office for over 10 years of my life. And so I went to Frisco. I was asking them to help me because so T-Mobile, an executive, he's actually the number 2 guy in charge now. He filed harassment charges on me. So what I was doing is as
What
I
a
was posting
fag.
my stories online, as I was posting my stories online, I was sending them to him and some other executives. And I was pissed off because I knew that they were working with big tech to silence and censor me. And so I was sending him these stories as I was publishing them, telling him I'm going to expose them and all this stuff. So then one day I go to his neighborhood, which is a gated community. There's no security guard. It's just a gated community like an apartment complex. And I go and I pass out flyers to every house in his neighborhood. And I put a flyer out there that had like 6 of my different T-Mobile stories. It had a summary of what I was doing. And so then he filed harassment charges on me. He actually lied to the police and told them that he told me to stop texting him, but he never told me to stop texting him. I thought he blocked me. And then over a 2-month period, I probably sent him about 30 or 40 messages over 2 months, right? He never once told me to stop. I go pass out these flyers. He calls the cops. They file harassment charges on me. The police report said that he told me to stop texting him, even though he didn't. So I go turn myself in. And then that was like October of 2024. We didn't go to trial till August of last year in 2025. Well, my trial was first supposed to be on May 5th. We go to the pretrial hearing on May 1st, and the state prosecution, which is the Collin County DA, requested to rewrite the charge. So the whole lie where he said he told me to stop texting him, the state was able to completely rewrite the description of my charge. Then what they did is they filed warrants for all of my social media. They got warrants for my X, my Instagram, my Substack. They got my DMs. They got everything all the way dating back to 2023, like well before the charge even happened, right? So then what the Collin County DA did was they said that I had sent over 150 communications to this guy at T-Mobile because they went and used my tweets against me. So any tweet where I was mentioning his name was counted as an electronic communication for harassment.
What the fuck?
Dude, my life has been a movie. And then, so I was, I was actually, you see the whole where I do signs, like I've been doing signs for a while, man. I used to stand in front of the T-Mobile office and hold these signs. I would love to go back there now, but I'm actually afraid Collin County will hit me with a felony stalking charge because that's where the executive.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's one of the places I'm never going to go to again. But I was holding signs in front of the Collin County courthouse saying the DA framed me. It was a sign that said Greg Willis framed me. And so what I was like, man, I'm a First Amendment guy. I'm a free speech absolutist. I'm going to stand up for what's right. But what I really did was piss off the DA. And so he and T-Mobile weaponized the entire system, come after me. I bet that I am the most expensive misdemeanor trial that Collin County has ever done. Like the amount of support they had in that trial. And I was actually inviting people to come to my trial, but I was so censored online that nobody saw my stuff. I wish it was now because now I actually have this following of like, I built up a pretty good following this year to where people probably would have shown up to my court date. But back then at my trial, on my side, it was just, my wife and a few family members. And then on the prosecution side, they had the entire team of misdemeanor attorneys there, like a room full of people. There was 3 or 4 T-Mobile attorneys there working with the DA. They had the head guy of like investigations for Collin County, like a whole team of people coming at me. And they got to lie in this trial over and over. Like they said that the neighborhood I went into, it was just a security gate, like an apartment where you could just wait to drive through behind another car. And that's what I did, right? But they lied and said there was a security guard there. They said that I snuck in around through a security guard, which, and this isn't private property. I looked at it as like, it's like a Girl Scout selling cookies. I could go there and pass out flyers. And I'm really not even soliciting because I'm not selling you anything. I'm just handing out flyers like a journalist. Might be crazy or whatever, but I was within the law to do that, and then, like I told you, they used my social media against. And what's crazy is the only way I found out they had done warrants for my social media was because Meta reached out to me. X didn't even tell me. So Meta sent me this email saying, "Hey, we have the Prosper Police Department has filed a warrant for all your social media. We're going to give it to them unless you block it in court." My attorney sucked. I paid for a great attorney. I thought, that's when I learned these guys don't really care about you. He didn't block it like he should have. And so they got all my social media. But Elon's ex did not even tell me they get that I had this warrant and they were handing out my information. The Prosper Police Department, their detective that investigates crimes against children, went through my entire ex. He actually testified against me in trial
Why the
because he
fuck
has
is
some
ICAC going through your shit?
because he has some tool that could go through all my tweets. And so they used him to investigate and dig in through all my tweets to see what I had said. And I know what they were trying to like find other stuff on me. So one thing they also did in my trial, 17 years ago, I was arrested for felony marijuana charge in Texas. I got caught with over 5 pounds of weed and a lot of money. I did probation.
damn.
I did deferred.
Woo!
Yeah,
Look at you
I did
go.
a long time ago, but I did deferred adjudication, did my probation. I'm not a felon, right? And so, but dude, they brought in the officer that arrested me 16 years prior for the weed charge in this trial. They had him testify against me because they were trying to make me look like I was still selling weed and being a drug dealer and all that stuff.
Isn't
And so
I
yeah.
know when it comes to sentencing, the judge can sometimes take in past accounts.
It was in the sentencing phase. It was in the sentencing phase.
Because I was about to say, I was like, they can't use that in like the actual trial part.
No, it was your good point. It was in the sentencing phase that they brought him in because then they wanted to make it look like I was still being a drug dealer and doing all
You're a
this stuff.
career criminal, you asshole.
And so they freaking, they got me. But
Actually,
so yeah, go ahead.
So on like parole or sentencing, the judge can actually, depending on your age, there's a law or like a amendment, or I don't know what you would consider it, where like your probation board or parole board or the judge can take into consideration of certain aspects of an age because and I forgot what years it is, up to what age, but it's essentially saying kids are fucking retarded. And
You're
that
talking about
they've made
youth offender status program.
Yeah.
But Texas doesn't have that.
I thought Texas did have that.
I was 25 at the time though, too.
So it's between 18 to 25 because 25 is when your brain fully matures, right? They call that youthful offender. Yeah. Well, regardless, but like that's when they say like they call it youthful offender status. You're not a minor and you're technically adult, but you're still quote unquote maturing, so you're stupid. But every state has to have its program set up in the judicial branch. Texas currently, as of because I remember hearing about it because I watch like the YouTube channel Law and Crime and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that kid who got away essentially with raping a girl, 2 girls or whatever like that. I can't remember what state it was. I think it was actually Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma. He got off on probation with no jail time, with all of this evidence of multiple times he's done this and like text message and everything, because Oklahoma has a youth offenders program. Now, that's not guaranteed. You have to be kind of granted into it. But they were talking about, but the attorney that got brought on said that he was actually, he's an advocate for a youth offenders program. And he's trying to set one up in Texas because Texas currently does not have one. So every state has to have one in order for, people of a certain age to be considered in the youthful offenders program and not fully trialed as an adult to get adult punishment, because that's how he got out of getting years and years in prison and just probation because he was classified under youthful offender status.
Was that a fuzzy horse?
Yeah. Sorry, it's my co-star.
I want to touch it. Not in a gay way. No.
You want to touch his fuzzy horse, faggot?
Is that what you call it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
What
So what was
What kind of
crazy about
dog
my
was that?
this was a Bernedoodle. I was trying to turn around, but he's being a little shit.
So one of my Shar-Peis passed away
Oh,
over
I'm
the
sorry to hear that,
weekend.
dude.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
horrible.
she was old as fuck. But
She lived
so
a good
Still
long life,
hard,
but
dude.
it's still hard. You know, she lived a good long life though.
yeah. Now
Yeah,
I want
sorry
to
to hear that,
fucking
dude. It's tough.
I want to see your
I know.
dog.
Come here, boy. Come here, boy.
Tell it to speak. Oh my god.
His name's Enzo.
Bro, I want to just
He's a
shave its like where it's got a big ass beard.
yeah. He's just turned 1.
Damn,
They're good dogs too.
that's a big fucking dog.
He's not too big. He's a mini Bernedoodle, so he's actually the smallest they come. Because the Bernedoodle, the regular ones get pretty big, but they mix
Is that a Bernese
mixed with a
Mountain Dog? Okay,
mixed with a
yeah.
poodle, so they do the
Okay.
Bernedoodle.
So we used to have a
Bernese,
Bernese.
they're big ass fucking dogs though. So a mini is still big. So
Yeah, we used to have one, and it had real bad hip issues and all that. Actually, so I used to live in Prosper Little Elm.
Oh,
Whatever.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I actually we had a Bernese Mountain Dog, and that's where we had bought it at up there, and we lived up there for a handful of years.
This is the other one. This is the little golden doodle. Her name's Izzy.
Bro, you got to get some more manly dogs. Like they're cool and all, but they're kind of gay.
So
they're hypoallergenic though, right?
My wife is allergic to dogs, and so you only get a choice.
Yeah, I was about to say, if he has those, it's because they're hypoallergenic.
I will say the one thing that's kind of nice is, your house doesn't smell like dog, which is kind of cool. But yeah, they don't really make me look manly, right? But they're cool. But hey, going back, let me tell you some crazy things about the
Dusty, enough of the rabbit hole. Let's get back on track here.
Hey, so my judge, what was crazy is I actually had a conservative constitutional judge that was supposed to be my trial judge, right? Dude, days before, a week before my trial, he's out of town now. And all of a sudden I have a retired liberal judge from Dallas come run my trial. And I'm pretty sure he was boys with the DA that was prosecuting me.
Called in a favor.
So yeah, dude, that happened. I mean, I think they planted someone in the jury pool, because that's easy to do it's a misdemeanor, right? It's not it wasn't like a Carmelo Anthony felony trial, right? It's a misdemeanor trial. So these guys can send out the letters for jury duty to who they want to and select somebody they want to, right? So I believe they did that. I was, found guilty, and then they asked me if I wanted the judge or jury to sentence me. And obviously the judge had changed out, right? So I didn't trust that process. If I had an attorney that gave a shit, he would have said no to the traveling judge, and he would have pushed my trial out more, right? But I don't think he cared. I thought he cared.
Well, they should have they didn't give you an option at the beginning. So when you got a new trial, you have to approve the new trial. So
my attorney did that. And so
and they didn't have you sign off on it, because I believe you're supposed to sign off. So
it wasn't really like I had a choice.
Oh, no shit. Because
but my attorney probably had the choice. So that's what I realized, man. These attorneys, they value their relationship with the DA more than they care about representing me, right? And like I told you, I'm out there holding signs saying the DA framed me and all this stuff. So now at this point, I've pissed off the DA. My attorney, who does business in Collin County, wants to keep his relationship good with this DA, right? And so the whole, and then my attorney, the head guy, he wasn't even the guy who represented me. It was somebody in his office that did it, right? And their whole thing was his whole motion was to prove that that I didn't send these text messages, because what the state didn't do was get all the information from T-Mobile to verify that I sent these text messages. For all they know, they could have been screenshots. But I had already owned up to the fact that I text these, right? Like, that was like the stupidest way to fight this trial. It should have been fought on protecting the First Amendment, right? Like, it should have been fought a different way. But what was crazy is the two detectives that were in my trial that were Prosper detectives. The one that I told you was in charge of all the child investigation stuff, and then the other one was the actual detective that ran my case. They were just caught up and they just got demoted and Prosper because the chick, Detective Harper, was sleeping with another cop on the clock in the car and all this stuff. And the other detective that did the child crimes, him and his buddies used Flock to track this chick and the other cop that they were sleeping with. And they called themselves whistleblowers, that they were protecting and saving the city. But what they had really done was done their own investigation on one of their team members, and they used the Flock camera system to
For
track them
personal
all around the
reasons.
system to prove for personal reasons. Like, yeah, you were right. Like, yeah, this detective shouldn't be sleeping with another cop on the clock, but that doesn't give you the right to go use Flock. Like, you needed to turn that information over to internal affairs, and they need to run that investigation. You don't get to take it into your own hands and use Flock for whatever you want. So that kind of made me feel good to see those two got demoted.
Fucking gosh, dude, that is insane. Oh man.
I got a lot of crazy shit, right?
Yeah. And that's where, like, when I refer back to Tommy G, right? He just released yesterday his Flock investigation where
Oh,
he
nice.
was
I
actually
haven't
went
seen
to Flock. It's so good. And they do like
Tyler's doing one too now.
yeah, but Tommy G did like a Uno reverse of like we found Flock headquarters and we had our own makeshift Flock camera. It's not an official one. It was like, I was like, we're just surveilling you for your safety,
Oh, nice.
and like,
Yeah.
going up, he was like,
Nice.
and then someone was like, then one of the Flock actual people was saying like, we're out here, you're filming us and we don't feel, he's like, okay, whoa, hold up. You don't feel safe with
No
us
way,
surveilling
dude.
you?
No
Swear
way.
to God, he said it.
I got to go watch it.
And the guy was like, no, he's like, that's interesting because you surveil you and your company and your technology surveils us without our permission and we don't feel safe. But yet you don't see any issue with that. Like he said
The
it on
hypocrisy.
camera. Said it
That's
on fucking
wild.
camera. It was so funny.
I love watching those videos of the people that are like the First Amendment kind of guys where they just go record stuff and prove
Yeah,
the point.
First
Like,
Amendment
you're gonna
auditors. Yeah.
Yeah. First Amendment auditors. That's what they're called. That I got to go watch that. I'm excited about. You know the one thing with Flock though that I wish people would kind of pay more attention to is Flock isn't really the problem. It's the city council members that are approving the deal with Flock, because the city council members and the mayor, they take oaths to the Constitution to protect us and our rights. And they're the ones allowing Flock. They're signing the contracts and letting them do all this stuff. And so, like, yeah, Flock is, they're obviously their technology and cameras are doing it. But these people that take an oath to the Constitution that are allowing it to happen, they're the ones really breaking the law.
Yeah, and what's funny is so this guy Rahul Sidhu, Chief Strategy Officer of Flock Safety, right? There's this post he talking about people about the disinformation about people, him saying that we sell their information that we collect, right? And somebody commented, it's like, is the fact that you are collecting data and selling it legally a disinformation campaign? And then the chief strategy officer said, correct, this is disinformation. We do not sell our customers' data. It is directly in our contracts that the customer owns the data and we cannot sell it. So I commented, I was like, we do not sell, and then the customer owns the data. I was like, no, all you do is unconstitutionally collect all of said data that your customer owns and then sells it. That's a nice loophole, you fucking douchebag. Mm-hmm. Like,
did you see his DM with Tyler?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
He's
actually.
Like talking about how he's afraid people are going to attack him because he has brown skin and all this shit. Like, you're playing victim, bro. Like,
fuck you.
Just, yeah, dude, own up to the fact that you know what your system is doing, and it is part of the tyranny that we're experiencing. The level of, that's another thing that happened during COVID that I don't think a lot of people understand is Apple and Android built contact tracing into their devices. So what they started using low powered Bluetooth, where like whenever you go into a public space, your phone is now pinging all the other Bluetooth devices to know who you were around. So that way, if you were the infected person, they could see all the people that you had associated with. Now in the settings, it's not there anymore because it's embedded into the actual operating system of iOS and Android. And so when you add that contact tracing to Flock, to all these data centers, to GM, to all this stuff, I mean, you just, there's zero, you have zero privacy.
Yeah. And on top of that, when it's like we live and die essentially by these things now. Like it's unfortunate that we're so tied to them as much as we are. But what sucks is like, it's like you can't really get out of the situation. You need
No.
your phone. And when you don't update it, it starts to purposely run shittier and slower. So you have to update it to make sure it doesn't get all glitchy and shitty on you. So it's like you're kind of like fucked. You damned if you do, you damned if you don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sucks that we're kind of pulled into that situation.
We can't stop this evolution. That's why I try and, some people are like, oh, you need to get rid of your cell phone. You need to get rid of this. Dude, you're not going to stop the evolution that we're living through. And I sold something, I worked at T-Mobile, dude. So I remember, I can tell you the model number of the first camera phone. I used to sell text message packages, 1,000 text messages for $10. Like, I'm in this industry, so I got to kind of watch it all evolve. And I'm kind of a nerd at heart, right? But now it's like, I totally understand how this is being used against us. And like I shared with you at the beginning, all the stuff that T-Mobile's created with the vaccine passports and the digital ID, dude, that's a big freaking deal. And that's what's crazy too, is like Texas, you guys see the recent digital ID law, and I call it the Paxton law. Angela Paxton is the one who created it. And then Ken Paxton went and defended it in the Supreme Court. And so like, and they sell it as we're protecting children from online. Back to what you were saying, Dusty, I don't care if people want to watch porn. Watch porn if you want to watch porn, right? That's your business. I don't think the government should get involved in trying to protect people from porn. And like that, they sell that so that way we need to keep kids, keep them safe. Let's give us digital IDs. But like to block kids from seeing porn, that means now all of us have to have digital IDs to be able to see what we want to see.
Yeah, and it doesn't only apply to those to like porn sites. You have other types of sites that will require it. So it's like, well, this is to help fight, combat the epidemic of porn. Whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, or you think it's a sin or not, well, I don't care. That's your business, not mine. That's your belief, But it's like you get to a point where it's like, because you can't watch Pornhub in Texas, right? If you do that, you have to get on a VPN to bypass everything because it knows where you are, right? But on top of that, there was because this goes back to our early days when we first started recording. There was a law that was being pushed. I believe it was in one of the Rust Belt states, either Michigan or Minnesota or whatever like that, right? That they were trying. It was Republicans that were pushing this, by the way, to ban VPNs. Because they were trying to, and they were trying to quote unquote say, I was like, well, kids use VPNs so they can watch porn. I'm just like, VPNs are for a lot more than just, streaming the dirty days of brownandround.com. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about trying to keep ourselves virtually private so we don't have the fucking government and all these other people like always in our business and trying to track where we are. But no, they're going to use the guise of public safety to fucking and more so kid safety. So it's like, well, if you are against this and you must, hate our kids and think you want to corrupt them with all the shows, like, no, I see you through your bullshit. That's the difference. So,
and what they won't talk about is
here. I got a quick question to that. I wonder if they looked at the analytical data, if the teen pregnancy numbers has risen since they banned porn in Texas. Because you got to think, instead of just being able to go in your
they didn't ban porn, just Pornhub
out,
specifically. So,
oh, I thought okay, I don't fucking know.
No. They banned specifically for Texas ISPs.
The Israeli-owned Pornhub.
Well, it's owned by a Canadian guy, but he's Jewish. He's from Israel, because it's a Canadian company. But it's Pornhub specifically. So ISPs in Texas, when they track the IPs, it doesn't allow you to get on just Pornhub.com in Texas. Only way to do that is, of course, if you do a VPN. Because remember, we tested that theory when I first told you about it way back when.
Yeah, but mine opened.
Yeah, because you were on a VPN at the time and you had to turn it off. I remember this entire conversation. But other porn sites in Texas you're allowed to do. It's Pornhub specifically that was legislated by the House or whatever like that to say Pornhub is banned in Texas. There's a
Why
bazillion
just Pornhub? Like I don't understand that. Like,
I think it's probably the only way they could do it. Like,
well, not only that, it's the most popular. I think like that. Everybody knows like, you know, the introduction to Pornhub. You know, all this fun, right? People, we see funny stuff about that all the time when people just play the sound. Everybody turns. It's like, who knows what that means, you know? But I think it's because that's the most popular one, like the most widely known one. So that's the one they target. So.
Okay.
Well, and what's interesting is these people that talk about that, they don't talk about OnlyFans, right? They don't talk about the streaming community. They don't talk about how the youth is still being influenced to that. If you want to Pornhub, whatever you want to call it, they're still being sexualized in all these other different avenues.
The loophole with OnlyFans is, even though that's pretty much what it all is at this point, the loophole with OnlyFans is it's like you can quote unquote treat it like Patreon or locals.
Private content.
Yeah, it's private content that you can subscribe to and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you'll get sued if you take like something from OnlyFans and post it on like another platform.
If they have it under a paid wall. Unfortunately, like I said, OnlyFans has become pretty much only that, but there is technically quote unquote other content on OnlyFans that's not that. And it's just when you say, hey, I have an OnlyFans, that goes to one thought. So it's like, you know, it's just kind of what it's, you know, unfortunately came to.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know for this for sure. Don't you have to pay to even get onto OnlyFans?
No, you can have a free one.
Yeah, no, it's just it's a platform where you can post like, what am I trying to say?
Just like a Patreon. That's a good way.
Yeah, like specific, like exclusive content. Now,
okay,
if you're trying
to, I thought you had to pay to even get on it. I've never been on OnlyFans, but I do have a Feet Finder account.
No,
I show my feet on Feet Finder.
But no, it's set up like I said, as where like even Substack, right? You can have a Substack set up where you pay to get the content, or it's free. It's just a place to post all your content. That's all. That's just a content site. So if you want to set up for monetization and then you want to put it behind a paywall, then you can, just like with Substack, Patreon, locals. It's all the same concept on every single one of them. It's just, unfortunately, OnlyFans has gotten a very bad pornographic rap at this point, because it didn't start that way. It just became that after so long. So
yeah, like you could use it for journalism, just like Substack.
Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. Boom. Epiphany. I'm setting up an OnlyFans account for a DP show. Think of the fucking foot traffic we're going to get for our fucking content. Think of the fucking foot traffic. Oh my fucking God.
I mean, like I said, technically that's what it's for. It's just for exclusive content. You know, it's just OnlyFans has been given that rap of it's a pornographic site because that's where everybody says like, oh, I have an OnlyFans. Well, what do you do on OnlyFans? Well, you know, I do stuff. Then they get all of a sudden very embarrassed that they have an OnlyFans, but yet
hold on. And then on OnlyFans, do you get, because I've seen on the back of people's cars and shit, do you get a QR code that like people can scan it and go to the page for?
Well, I don't know if OnlyFans generates that. You can create a QR, just like for our Linktree, right? It creates a QR code that goes there. So
I'm so putting one on the back of my truck. Okay, I'll fucking figure it out today. I'll send you all the information so you can start putting the videos on there. Perfect. Fucking awesome. Awesome. I fucking love it. You just made my fucking week, day, year. I don't know what the fuck. I am getting a huge OnlyFans star fucking thing on my back window of my truck. Holy fucking asshole.
It is a genius marketing move. It is because it's like, you know, if you
want to see double penetration, go to OnlyFans.
You know, that's genius.
Why didn't I think of this before? I love y'all techie motherfuckers.
Dude, this is the funny thing, Mark. This is what I deal with on a daily basis. Unfortunately, we've had this exact conversation 10 times before. You fucking idiot. You just don't pay
Not
attention.
about OnlyFans.
Yes, about OnlyFans. I've told you that that's what it is. You don't need to subscribe or pay for it. If you have a free one, you can set up one. It's just for content. Like that's.
I
But
thought
it's
it was only
become
for titties.
no. And I told you this so many times. But
I
you don't pay
fucking
attention.
listen to you half the
Exactly.
time.
You dumb fuck.
The dogs
are
hear me
getting hyped
yelling.
up.
Yeah.
They're telling everyone he's going to be on OnlyFans.
God, dude, you're such an idiot. I swear.
Oh, you know how we were talking about earlier about like you're happy because Trump closed the border, right? Like now I understand that the government creates the problem to give us the solution to be the hero, right? Like they created
Oh yeah,
COVID,
100%.
right? To give us the vaccine and to be the heroes to fix it. That's the same thing. They purposely opened the border so that way they could tee Trump up, put him back in, and tee him up to be the hero to close the border. But then, like we know one of the things I'm exposing is H-1B. Just because the border's closed doesn't mean immigration has stopped, because now we have legal immigration that's flooding our country.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where it's like, we have like this mass immigration problem. People are like, Trump closed the border. I'm like, we're not talking about illegal, you dumb fuck. There is legal mass immigration that needs to be controlled, and it's ridiculous, and is people want to try to use semantics. It's like illegal crossings are down to net zero because Trump closed the border. Cool. I'm not talking about illegal immigration. I'm talking about legal immigration that is running rampant and out of fucking control and getting taken advantage of. But they want to use semantics.
And once you start saying shit like net zero, dude, I'm like, now it's just a narrative, bro. Like you're saying words, creating a narrative. But I'm sure you guys have seen how, now they're investigating H-1B.
I think it's all bullshit. I think what it is because they see Republicans like now, they see that their numbers are in the fucking garbage, going down fast. And they know that one of the big fucking things that we're all talking about, who voted for Trump and voted for all this shit, is the H-1B bullshit. And now I think they're just doing it to artificially boost their support until the midterms pass, and then nothing's going to fucking come of it.
And that's, look at me. I mean, is there anyone else out here that is speaking up at city council for over a year talking about H-1B? I'm now known. What's crazy is like my T-Mobile whistleblowing is way more important than me exposing H-1B. But exposing H-1B is what's getting me traction and helping me grow online, right? I'm so thankful Tyler Oliveira is actually an honest journalist who he put the best documentary expose together exposing H-1B. No one has done as good of a job as him. The government is not talking about what he's doing.
I was so excited when it came out.
Yo, dude, and me too. It finally got me on a platform that like someone else was helping tell my story, which I was thankful of. Like, he's got 10 million followers on YouTube, or 9 something. But either way,
he's a big fucking account because he's been doing it for so long. And it feels like it's so unjustly put to be like, oh, well, he's just doing this now because he, the one that made him, I guess, more widely known than because I knew who he was.
Right.
But I think what made him more widely known is when he went to Jersey and started doing the fraud investigation for his Jewish communities. And now all of a sudden, like, he's just blowing up because he's going on the whole anti-Jewish, anti-Israel grips. Like, no, he's been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
Way before Nick Shirley was a twinkle in the operator's eye of setting up for a government plant. He's been doing this for so long. And you guys are only getting pissed off and why now because he's not discriminatory on who he's going to expose. So
what I tell people, like, my story, I've documented a story that exposes controlled opposition because look at all the stuff I've already told you about T-Mobile. We haven't even gotten D&I, all the other crazy stuff. I should be being celebrated. I should be on Fox News by now. I should have testified in front of Congress by now. I should be celebrated for turning down all this money, risking everything to speak up and expose a corporation. But instead, I'm shadow banned and I'm censored. And this is like I said, thank you guys for having me on. This is only the 4th time I've been invited to a podcast. out of all the crazy stuff I've been talking about exposing, you'd think I would be invited onto other platforms by now to help share this stuff. And Tyler did that. And that's where I know Tyler, I learned this dude he's like 26 years old, man. And he's a badass. He's a free thinker. He will expose anything. He's not going to stay within the realms of left versus right. He's going to, like you said, that's when he got most of the hate was when he went and showed the Jewish community stuff, which that stuff's crazy.
Yeah.
The stuff that he exposed in that video.
Yeah. And then on top of that, with like right after that came out, I can't remember what the name of the community is called up there, but it was in New Jersey. He started getting so massively deplatformed, removed, and everything like that.
His Patreon was shut down.
Yeah, and he created his own website after that because they were so heavily trying to force against him. And it's like, he's been doing this shit with all kinds of communities and everything like that. Like you said, no discrimination for years. But he goes to one place with a certain type of community, then he's all bad and bad news to me. Now, like, let's talk about Nick Shirley for a second. I remember when all that stuff started happening. It's Minnesota, right, where all this stuff is happening? No, yeah. Michigan.
Somali stuff. Oh, Michigan. Yeah,
what and Dearborn, right? Yeah, so Dearborn, Michigan, with all the Somali stuff, right? Now, granted, that is all fucking horrible. Needs to be, investigated, and people need to be held accountable. And we need to start cutting funding for all these places. Every state, no state is exempt, to include here in fucking Texas, from federal sources that are going to fucking waste our tax dollars and not use it appropriately. Now, here's where I am more particularly frustrated with the fact. Now, I know Nick Shirley has been, quote unquote, doing certain stuff like this for a while. He didn't just all of a sudden pop on the map right then and there. He's had an ongoing, account and stuff like that for quite a while, to be fair. But he's had zero amount of exposure and notoriety, unlike Tyler Oliveira, Tommy G, and all these other guys who've been doing it for years and years, right?
With bigger platforms.
Yes. And then he's the one that gets brought to Congress and then gets teamed up with President Vance on this White House fraud task force and all this shit, all because of, quote unquote, Nick Shirley exposing fraud in the Somali community. And just so happens that I would say probably about 90% of Somalis are what? Muslims.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's the only reason this is getting a lot of play. Again, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're fucking Christian doing this shit. You need to be held accountable. But why is it only him exposing Somali fraud when most Somalis are Muslims that are getting all of this fucking play and exposure brought to Congress, to testify? You got fucking California trying to pass laws to stop him specifically. It's like, why is he all of a sudden the most widely known fraud exposer when there's been way more popular, way more successful, and way more known people years before him? It's bullshit.
Because he'll stay within the guardrails, right? Like he'll only expose fraud in Democrat states, right? He's not going to talk about Texas. I replied to one of his posts like 2 months ago. I was like, hey, when are you going to come to Texas? Like, and people, the amount of times Nick Shirley gets tagged in me exposing H1B, he's been tagged on my stuff over 1,000 times probably at this point, just like so many of these elected officials, right? People are like, oh, Nick Shirley needs to come to Frisco and do this and help this. It's like, and then I replied to something on his Instagram and he's like, I'm busy. I just got back from Cuba and this and that. And I'm like, bro, you're going to Cuba before you're even talking about H1B?
Which is funny because he had this whole story on being held hostage or captive, whatever, in Cuba. And there was other influencer in that same hotel. I'm like, the fuck is this guy talking about? He's full of shit. Yep. There's nobody here. Yep. Like he got exposed on his own exposing, which was funny to me. But
and that's what's tough is like seeing him and James O'Keefe testify at that fraud thing. I've texted James O'Keefe's signal number multiple times over the past few years. Like, hey man, I got all this fraud. Reach out, like hit me up. Like I've reached out to all the people that you think would be helping me. And I don't know I can't say that they've read it. I don't know if they've read it. I don't know if big tech blocked them from seeing it,
That,
whatever
and
the heck may have happened.
if O'Keefe has like a signal number, I guess anybody can text. I'm guessing because I've this is the first time I'm hearing of it.
Yeah,
Who knows how many texts he gets? So
totally.
because O'Keefe, I have massive respect for him because he started Project Veritas and they forced him out and then he started O'Keefe Media and he does amazing shit. So it is a little interesting that, I mean, again, who knows if he saw it at this point or whoever's monitoring that. So it's like, I don't know, man. That's a little
And that's what I'm
disheartening.
mindful of. I don't like to tell. I'm very cognizant. Like, I don't know if these people have seen it, right? But like Project Veritas actually got in my DMs. It was like, hey, we should partner on the H-1B stuff. And then now, now they're a ghost. I haven't heard back from them or anything. But it's I feel like there's certain people out there that they're able to platform fraud from, and then there's certain people like Tyler Oliveira, Tommy G, me. I'm not going to compare myself to those two. Those guys have way bigger platforms, have done way more journalism. But the stuff I've exposed about H-1B is crazy. But for me, I'm not just exposing Indians that with potential H-1B fraud. I'm talking about a corporation I dedicated 17 years of my life to. I'm talking about how T-Mobile is employing H-1B while they're laying off Texans and Americans. They're moving operations over to Hyderabad, India. They have a new CEO from India that they just put in last November. I'm talking about a corporation. T-Mobile has, they actually have the Department of Defense's communications deal because Sprint had that and T-Mobile and Sprint merged, right? So like T-Mobile is very involved with government communications. They're partnered with Elon's Starlink, right? I actually think that's one way they can control the weather too now is, are you familiar with HARP in Alaska?
Yeah.
Right. And so I actually think T-Mobile's 5G and Elon's Starlink has replaced HARP because now they have direct communication where they can kind of manipulate the weather all over the place. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But that's why that's why I believe I'm not getting any attention or love from these big platforms is because exposing T-Mobile has exposed too much truth that people aren't supposed to know.
That is pretty crazy. Not gonna lie. That's a lot.
Well, and I was telling Rusty, like T-Mobile, Patriot Mobile uses T-Mobile's network to, they actually work with all three. Like you can sign up for Patriot and use T-Mobile, Verizon, or AT&T. But that's why a lot of these conservatives won't really platform is because most of them are sponsored by Patriot Mobile.
Patriot Mobile.
And
I see all of those ads all the time. Yeah.
All of it. I mean, the first faces on there were Dan Bongino, Glenn Beck, Charlie Kirk,
Graham Allen.
Yep. I have a tweet from 2 years ago. I'm like, hey, Patriots, I'm right here. Talk to me because I'm exposing this stuff. But that's when I realized they're not going to talk to me because Patriot works with T-Mobile and they have to protect that relationship.
Yeah. And
well,
that's what's good about us. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any carriers or brands that aren't as no, they're all fucked?
Yep. So here's what most people don't know is there's only 3 networks in the United States: T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. That's it. Mm-hmm. Every other smaller provider uses one of those big 3 networks.
Yeah, they bounce those towers.
So you're never going to escape the tyranny. And AT&T and Verizon aren't any better. I still have T-Mobile. That's what people find funny. It's like I don't believe in
that is funny.
I don't believe in brand boycotts because they don't work. I'm not going to go over to AT&T or Verizon and spend more money or lose benefits just to make myself feel better. And so no, they all
let the free market decide at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, T-Mobile, they bought Metro, T-Mobile bought Sprint. They bought Metro. They own Metro PCS, which is Metro by T-Mobile. They bought Mint Mobile. So a lot of people, T-Mobile just raised the prices on customers a couple weeks ago. And a lot of people are like, I'm leaving. I'm going to Mint Mobile. It's like, they don't care because you're still giving them money. Now you're getting less benefits. You're actually deprioritized on the network. So they're probably making more profit on you that way too.
And Mint Mobile's the Ryan Reynolds one, the Deadpool.
Yeah, which that one is interesting because Ryan Reynolds, I think he took ownership 2019. And then so he was the face of it and ran this kind of this marketing plan to get all these people over, and then they sold it to T-Mobile 3 years later. So that when they put Ryan Reynolds in place, they already knew they were selling it to T-Mobile years later, and he was going to make $1 billion on the deal.
They just had to artificially boost everything, yeah.
Yeah, they know these playbooks. They plan this shit out 5 to 10 years ahead of time,
Yep, everything is fake and gay.
Yeah. That's why I rock, I got my magenta. I like to troll T-Mobile where I go. If you notice, like every time in my city council videos, I'm wearing magenta shorts, and that's purposely just all my
I
If you
was
notice, all my videos have magenta in it. I use it everywhere.
I was gonna ask you earlier if if the magenta was because of that, but yeah. Okay. You
I mean,
answered me without me even asking.
I've branded myself as the T-Mobile whistleblower. Like that's what I tell people I am. Of course, I'm an investigative journalist. I'm kind of doing other stuff, but I'm the T-Mobile whistleblower until the day I die. I don't think there's anybody else out here that is exposing a Fortune 100 company like I am, and not
Yeah.
getting any love from the government. Or I've reached out to the United States whistleblower program when Texas was prosecuting me for my free speech about the trial I told you guys earlier. I reached out to Ken Paxton, Greg Abbott, Pam Bondi, President Trump, the whistleblower program, all these people begging to help me. Like I said, I don't know if they saw it, but I can't get anyone. Now I will somebody on Ken Paxton. I don't know if you guys know Michelle on X who like works for Ken Paxton. She
Michelle who?
confirmed. I don't know. Her like accounts like Mimi. I don't know. She works directly for Ken Paxton. Um, and she confirmed they know who I am. They don't like what I say about Ken Paxton. She is if you look on X, her name's like Mimi or something. She has like 27,000 followers, and she is works directly for Paxton.
Yeah, so we were actually on a private meeting the other day, and we were actually talking about I was explaining to them that Texas Whistleblower Act or that laws that we have. So you didn't fall under that for some reason?
I think a lot of the whistleblower stuff, I'm not familiar with that exact Texas one, but I think a lot of the whistleblower stuff is for government employees, right? And I'm not a government employee. I'm a whistleblower from a Fortune, yeah, that one right there, Michelle Smith. I'm a whistleblower from a Fortune 100 company, which I think is a little different.
So from what I knew is the whistleblower stuff went for private and government.
I need to check out the Texas one. I'm not familiar. I reached out to the United States whistleblower program. I didn't even get a response from them. But to see, that's like I don't even know if big tech is like blocking me from sending certain stuff. Right? Like they know my IP addresses. They know my Wi-Fi. They know all my stuff. So like I wonder if like sometimes if I go submit to an official website, do they just kind of make it disappear? Maybe I'm being too cynical there, but
It's
I
like a
just
type of shadow ban almost, yeah.
I know they
Yeah.
can do it. So I mean, that's where I've so like on X, I'm hidden from a lot of people. I posted a video the other day where I replied to Anthony Desposito, which is the guy running the H-1B fraud stuff, right? I replied to it, and then I went to my burner account and I looked at it, and it showed that he had one reply to his account, but my reply wasn't even there. But I go back to my actual
It
account.
was probably marketed as spam, like probable spam.
I'm
Sometimes you
always
say
in this.
it's
So
probably
this
what
one
it was.
wasn't
Yeah.
even spam because usually you can hit spam and actually show it to you, right? Mine, it wouldn't even show it. It just like was a ghost comment. But yeah, usually my comments are pushed into the spam section. The only people that can really see it are people that follow me. And so that's why, most people don't care about censorship. That's one thing I've learned in America is most people don't care about online censorship because honestly, most people don't have anything important to say. Like most people aren't a whistleblower, right? They don't really care. They're just like here to read the news. And so when I talk about my censorship, people are like, "Oh, you're full of shit, dude, because you have 27,000 followers. You're not censored. You just think you should be getting more attention than you are." Blah blah blah. And it's like, no, I'm clearly shadow banned and censored. If you understand the stuff I'm
Yeah,
exposing.
which I have seen it's a lot of people that actually has a lower follower count that are getting banned worse just because it's easier for them to uh control our voices when
Yep.
you're smaller rather than when you get to a extremely large. But granted, guys like Rogan and everyone are getting fucking shadow banned too, you know. So it's so much easier for the smaller guys before you get big to prevent your voice getting out there, and it prevents you from growing. Like that's one of the big things. If they can censor you when you're small, it's going to get you to a point where a lot of people give up. they say what they want. They're getting out there. They're like, I got to talk my shit. I've got to let everyone know this. And then after a while, it gets deterring where it's like, well, fuck, no one's even fucking hearing what I'm saying. Why the fuck am I even doing it anymore?
Dude, that's
And
what I'm fighting right now. I feel that like daily, I'm having to fight through that because I'm so like I'm drained, man. Like I keep going, but honestly, I'm at that point that you just described. I realize follower counts mean nothing. So at the beginning of the year, I had 11,000 followers. Now I have 27,000 followers. I had more impressions at the beginning of the year than I do now. So the follower count means nothing if people aren't seeing your stuff. It's just a
yeah,
number.
yeah. Like our TikTok, we've been perma banned off TikTok multiple times. We've actually lost every one of our followers on TikTok. What, 2, 3 times? I think I can't remember,
I know you
but yeah,
monitor that. I don't.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like it's
I lost my TikTok and started another one. I think so. I actually lost my TikTok the day after my first court date. I'm pretty sure T-Mobile had worked with TikTok to get me shut down. And then I can't even use Facebook. I never used Facebook my entire life. I'm one of these weird millennials that like I didn't have Facebook at all forever until I started doing this journalism stuff. I get on there, start posting my stories, and I'm completely banned without reason. I appeal it. Nothing happens. I reach out to I filed a complaint with the Texas Attorney General's office because you can actually go in there and complain about being banned from social media. But then I talked to one of their people. They just gathered that information. They're not going to ever like work with Facebook to get us back on. But then Paxton goes out here and celebrates lawsuits against Facebook for censoring conservatives because it makes him look like a hero, even though he's never really fixing it for any of us.
I miss MySpace.
Yeah, my circle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody having that one friend that was always a G, and that was Tom,
yeah.
That dude rode off into the sunset, man. He lived the G like. I think he's just out there like living his life as a millionaire. It's like kudos to you, bro, or billionaire. I don't know.
I don't know. That was crazy. It was crazy times back then, because then you knew who, like when you were in a good position with your friend, then you weren't because you had your top 8 or whatever because as soon as you were not in their top 8 anymore, like, what the fuck, dude? So you hit up your friend, why am I not in your top 8 anymore, bro?
Well, and T-Mobile even copied it. We had my faves, like like whenever you had
I remember that.
limited
I
minutes.
used to have T-Mobile, so yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
you could pick your 5 people and talk to them as much as you wanted to.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, I remember. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, that's old
That
school.
was when
T-Mobile.
minutes were limited. Remember when you had to buy a plan like, oh, here's your 1,000 minutes and free nights and weekends after 9 p.m. and all that crap.
Yeah,
It's
and
an interesting watching.
you always used to think I'll never talk that much, and then your fucking bill
Yeah.
skyrockets out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever have Nextel?
Nah.
The two-way, I had it for a year, long time ago. That shit was cool.
Yeah. I fucking love that shit. So I had
Yeah.
Verizon whenever I was younger, and then I switched to Nextel before they were bought by Sprint. And yeah, bro, I had the fucking walkie-talkie phone, and you'd be on the phone with some people, and then like it was always after that. God, what was it? Oh, it was after Super Troopers, and we used to always get on there and be like, and we'd start talking, then out, and then you ain't gotta go. Yeah. Fucking,
You see, they got number 3, Super Troopers number. Like the previews look pretty good. The trailer.
Yeah. But
That's good old that. It's funny. It's based in like up in Canada,
Washington,
I think.
right?
Well, like
Canada.
I think it's based in Canada, isn't it? I believe so.
It's
like
on the border.
yeah. But I was like, it's a good old American classic, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's funny story. I've got a good buddy of mine. He's with a certain 3-letter agency. One of the ways he likes to communicate back and forth, if it's not, on certain platforms, is on the Apple Watches. You have a walkie-talkie feature on the
Yeah.
Apple Watch, and there apparently something about that is how it's not monitored or not encrypted or something. A lot of
Interesting.
times, like for certain things, he'll, Apple Watch me, and it'll be like, "You in public, bitch?" And I'm like, "Yeah, wait till I get fucking, to the truck."
That's
But
interesting. That's so one thing I don't, people make a big deal about encrypted communication. It doesn't matter anymore because now they can see the screen on your phone. And so,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you use an encrypted email, because now if they see what I'm typing on my screen, they know, and AI is built into these phones now. So there is no privacy anymore. Like,
Yeah.
they can, it doesn't matter if you use Proton Mail and try and encrypt your email, they know what you're typing already.
Yeah, so he actually was talking to me about it at one point in time. So it's something about keystrokes. One of the things that
Yes.
they can replicate your keystrokes, which
Yeah.
I don't know exactly understand all that just because
It's just typing. They're,
Yeah, it's
I'm a
just
they're
dumb
monitoring
fucking
what you
redneck.
type in. Keys on a
It's
keyboard.
like
That's
your
what it means.
it's like your have you noticed how good the predictive text is on iPhone now? Like, if you type kind of a sentence to somebody and then you go start to type it to somebody else, it like completes what you were already typing. Like, that's what they're tracking and monitoring now. Now your phone's doing
Yeah.
it.
See, and I voice text everything. I don't type text anything. I voice text everything.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah. It's still tracking the words you type up. But
Yeah,
yeah, I see. Yeah. Yeah, the voice to text stuff's so good these days. I mean, the AI, all this stuff's so good now, man. It's
there's certain
you can
words you
have it
can't
listen to this
say.
Yeah, yeah.
conversation and summarize it, and it's like it will summarize this whole conversation we've had.
No, yeah, it
Yeah,
does that. It does that in post edit. I can get show notes and it'll summarize everything. So,
It's crazy.
yeah, yeah. There's very much so certain voice text words you can't say. It will not allow you.
well, we need to start wrapping up, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Who knows how many more hours we could keep going on about everything. But dude, this has been fun. Mark, tell us where we can find you, and tell anything else you want to wrap up with and let people know.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It's refreshing to talk with like-minded individuals that aren't really brainwashed with government propaganda, that will have some questions, talk about some crazy stuff. You guys are obviously knowledgeable in a lot of stuff that I like to be interested in too. You can find me on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's Marc Palasciano. You can see the spelling right there on the screen. My handles are Marc_Palasciano. I have a Substack website, marcpalasciano.com. I thought my fun fact about me is like I'm the only Marc Palasciano in the United States, which is pretty cool. But then I realized that's what makes it so easy for big tech to censor me, because all they got to
Yeah,
do is hide the one Marc Palasciano, So,
Yeah,
but no, thanks. I'm looking forward, man. Guys, invite me back on anytime. We didn't
absolutely.
even really get into like the H-1B and all the stuff, how I'm trolling city council. Like, as you can see, I have a ton of stuff to talk about. And it was a good conversation with you guys. Great way to start the Friday morning, being double penetrated by Rusty and Dusty.
Always a good morning, isn't it?
hell yeah.
Well, anything to wrap up with, Dustin?
No, except for y'all go try fucking Patriot pouches. They're fucking phenomenal. I like the fucking of these fucking things.
All right. Well, guys, it's been fun. Mark, we are definitely going to have you back on, because I know we didn't cover quite the hot topics. It was awesome getting into T-Mobile and then just other things. But guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure we can keep getting this message out and everything. But always and forever, Texas forever, motherfucker.